How you doing out there in cyberspace? I just love this. I hope you make videos because I want to see your videos. Why? I want your personality out there in cyberspace so your grandkids will know you. Okay? And I really think that, you know, you could do it if you wanted to. And I'm going to read you this. This guy's a genius. He says, no individual has any right to come into this world and go out of it without leaving behind him distinct and legitimate reasons for having passed through it. Passing through life, you've got to do something significant. You've got to make your family proud of you. Don't you understand? You have your ancestors watching you. That's what Shinto is in Japan. Worshiping and admiring your ancestors. I mean, this guy that wrote this, he was born a slave. George Washington Carver, he's a genius. I wish I would have written it. Why? Because you have to have a way to survive. He used his brain. But what if you couldn't read? And I know people, they can't read and they need help and they need mentors. And John Wayne Mercure, the Sonneteer, is begging you. I'm begging you. Mentor somebody, a kid, even an adult, if they're having trouble reading. Why? Because if you can read, you can do anything. And we need to help each other because we have too many people, young people that can't read. They get out of high school and can't read. We got to stop this. We got to help each other. We can teach somebody else to read. I have many times. What I'm telling you is there's a movie, okay? And it's sad. She can't read. This is sonnet number 1249. What would you have done? Good question. When you got fire in your face, what would you do? When you have fire behind your back, what would you do? I really like Kate Winslet. She's a beautiful girl, beautiful woman. In the movie The Reader, that's a splendid movie, a really good movie. And what I'm telling you is, I got to be authentic. I need my marker. It's a splendid movie, The Reader. You gotta stream it. It's sad. It's really sad. She can't read. Her name, try forgetting Hannah Schmitz. That's her name. She's beautiful. But her hideous pain, she can't read, and she's too ashamed to admit it. She's never been around schools, and she's fighting poverty any way she can. Intense isolation out of embarrassment. She's so ashamed, I can't read. People are going to think I'm stupid. Only menial jobs could she get. Punching tickets on a trolley. Now this is Germany in 1930, 35, when they were almost Nazis. She had a nice uniform on a trolley. She could pay her food and pay a rent in a kind of a shabby little apartment. She had stairs to climb every day, and I hate stairs. I don't know why anybody buys a home with stairs. If you're old or crippled or lame or whatever, or you got grandma coming in, hey, it's just a burden. And if you put one of the electric chairs, how are you going to get your laundry up there? I guess you're going to put a big bucket on and a bushel on your lap, I guess. And here's this poor girl. She's eking out an existence. She can't read. I had a young lady one time, I gave her some things to study, and she said, I hate to read. And I cut her out. I wanted to help her, but I couldn't. I couldn't. She didn't want to read. And those people are in real trouble. And this is Kate Winslet. What a babe. She's punching tickets on a trolley car, and she had a sweaty affair with a 15-year-old boy. And you know, that's every man's dream as a young man, that some older woman will show you the ropes with love. And let's call him David Cross, because he's a good actor. Bitter, lonely days for her. Alone. Hungry, dark nights. Alone. Biting on the sheets, if you know what I mean. She better flee when she gets promoted. And she got promoted, so she'd be in an office, and she would have to read. She would have to write. She's desperate for any kind of job. Have you ever been hungry? I mean really hungry. Like 2 million starved people at Leningrad. They ate everything. The cats, the dogs, the belts, the shoes, each other. Why? They were hungry. Have you ever been hungry? And there's a movie called Hombre. It's one of Paul Newman's best. And in that movie, he tells a sunburn. She's getting ready to die. They got her tied there. And he asked her, hey lady, how would dog taste now? Because she was in bad shape, and she'd once said, those dirty Indians eat dog, and I would eat dog no matter what. And he's asking her, you think you'd eat dog now? Because when you get hungry, you'll eat anything. They'll eat bugs that naked and alive what is naked and afraid, and they should be glad they're alive because they wouldn't make it a year. I mean, big thing, they're making it 21 days. Hey, a year? We didn't even invent fire until 10,000 years ago. What I'm saying is, left and right shoes, we didn't even know left and right until the last 300 years. We're kind of stupid. Well, when you're hungry, has your belly ever swelled up? Was pain flaming in your whole body because you're so hungry? Utter desperation. You're naked and afraid. A stark reality for this poor girl. No roof. Freezing rain. You're going to be outside if you can't have a job. She took the only job she could get. She took employment as a Nazi SS guard taking orders. Das ist eine deutsche Ordnung. And if you don't follow that order, we'll shoot you. We'll kill you. And we'll kill your family. And that's why liberty's so important. We can't let these fascists again. They just want anarchy so they can have the power. Ugly Auschwitz, Dachau, Treblinka. I guess she worked in all three as a guard. Hundreds were burned to death because they locked a church with people inside on fire with the doors locked and they couldn't get out and they could hear them screaming. And she said, we couldn't let him go. We couldn't let him go. We couldn't let him escape. Those were my orders and they would have shot me if I didn't follow orders. And you think he wouldn't do it? She was so ashamed of not being able to read or write. She took any job she could. And he said she had a confession. She couldn't write. She didn't confess to nothing. And they're humiliating her in front of the court. She asked the war crimes judge in the front of the court, in front of everybody, what would you have done? If you want to live for one more hour, one more minute, that's a question everybody should ask themselves. Would you do anything for any old job? Anything? Maybe your kids are starving. Maybe your wife doesn't have shoes. What you going to do then, Dad? You're a man. You got to step up to the plate. Auschwitz Sonderkommandos. Auschwitz. God, that's awful. Auschwitz Sonderkommandos. Throwing bodies in fiery cauldrons. Why? Because they didn't want to get thrown in. And they were following orders just to live. They didn't want to kiss life goodbye. They wanted to survive for just this day. The hours are dwindling. If I can live just for another hour, another minute, anything, so I don't die. There's a movie called Fury. I mean, Chad Pitt. Brad Pitt. Chad. I get the names confused because I'm an old man. Chad Pitt, he's in this movie called Fury. The name of the tank. And Sherman tanks against the Germans, they were overmatched. The Germans were much better. In this fabulous movie, it's really good. And Brad Pitt, nobody plays Achilles like him. And that movie, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, it's a terrific movie. And look how good looking he is. And in that movie, The Fury, they tell this new guy, wait till you see what a man can do to another man. Because once war starts, you have to fight it out. We can't let it start. We can't let it start. We got to stop. We got to stop and talk with each other. Dwindling hours in that movie, The Fury of the Tank, they all die. It's like the Alamo. It's unbelievable. It's a good movie. And thank God you've never faced such cruelly dire hopelessness because they couldn't get out of it. They couldn't retreat because they would have cut off the American supply line. And they all died except one. Thank God you've never had to be faced with that. Scoffers accuse. They make fun. They say, oh, when I was there, I would have done this. I would have done that. They have that arrogant bravery in that movie. The reader, there's a student saying, well, why didn't you shoot yourself? Why didn't you fight him? There's more than 50,000 Germans that fought it, and they are all murdered. We can't let freedom be that easily taken. And we got to fight together because it's awful. It's awful. The scoffers, well, why didn't you do something? The bravery of arrogance. The murderers will laugh in your face before they shoot you and they torture you and rape your kids and your children. And we can't let that ever happen again. They got a gun to your head, so bloody, because they'll kill you. They'll crucify you. The Romans will crucify you just by saying so. And we can't let that happen again. Well, you keep your job, and you're going to keep your job, or wretched and miserable, les miserables, you become. Hunger gnaws on your guts. Follow orders or get shot or sent to Siberia. Slaves know. You know, if there's no law, that's no life at all. We have to have just law, and we do. The American Constitution, the American Bill of Rights. Sit down and read it. It was bought with blood, blood. And hunger is gnawing you. And I'm telling you, freedom is more valuable than diamonds. Every tooth in your head is more valuable than a diamond. But what's more valuable than freedom, liberty? Live free or die, right? New Hampshire? That's great. You must have, freedom is more valuable than diamonds, and you've got to have skills and your talents to read, to learn. You got to use your talents. Rebellion to tyrants, all right? Tyrants that are trying to tell you what to do. That's obedience to God, rebelling against that. We have to have citizens out there, good people like all of you out there. Ignorance must burn. We got to help people get their talents educated with schools and mentors. Why can't we help each other? America's survival depends on fighting like devil dog Marines. This time we got to defend liberty and we got to defend freedom. American citizens, soldiers, developing capitalistic talents. They're all talented and we got to have their help. They have big abilities. Non-readers, they must be mentored. I mean, we can't let them, we can't leave an American behind. Never leave an American behind. Miracle workers getting paid for their capitalistic talents, getting paid for your talents. Precious liberty, paid for in blood. Truth, there's only one truth and that's God. There can be only one. Freedom itself is so true. It's truth. Liberty, blessed liberty. Souls, human souls, spirits, flying free with their talents, getting paid for their talents. America, America, I love it so much. All of it, all of it. No chains for me and you. No chains. You read the Constitution. You read the Bill of Rights. I've been where they wrote it. I have a big banner on my wall right here, and it's Philadelphia Independence Hall, and I'm looking at all those men. They were guts. We better hang together or they're going to hang separately because they're going to hang us when we sign this document. They did it anyway. They had everything to lose, but they thought, live free or die, New Hampshire. And these people are great men. I'm looking at them, and it's not an accident. I'm talking to you about this here. What would you do if the devils were in control? We got to be a gentleman, strength and righteousness. And I'm talking to you men out there, especially, they make men ashamed to be men. You guys out there in the military, you've been through it, and I need your help. I'm begging you, please, pretty please, with sugar and honey. Ja Allah, Allah ja pour vous. God bless all of you. God bless us, everyone. John Wayne Mercure, thank you for listening. Au revoir, mes amis.